What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another video. First and foremost, before we get started with part 7, I believe, and I think I actually labeled our thumbnail wrong on the previous episode, quote unquote, of this ongoing series we have titled Things That I Wish I Knew When I Started My Pest Control Business. Before we hop in, if you don't know who I am, I'm the owner of Preferred Pest Management here in the Dallas, Texas area. We've been in business for about 3 years. We grew this company to a 6-figure company our first year, and we're just slowly but surely, working our way up ever since. And I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. Pretty much with this channel, I'm just documenting my journey. I'm not at 7, 8, 9 figures, anything like that yet. Our goal is to one day potentially, sell. If I were to ever sell our company, it would have to be worth at the bare minimum $50 million. So definitely have lofty goals for the company. And like I said, I'm just documenting this journey. I know there's a lot of different business and even some people that own pest control businesses dabbling into like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. But they're more so just kind of scratching the surface from what I noticed, and I'm sure you guys probably noticed that as well. So on this channel, I prefer to kind of dive in, not just, even doing these basic kind of videos. We also do live Q&As where during the Q&A, as you all are, asking me questions, I'm literally teaching you all something as well, usually on the laptop, be it Google Ads, website, SEO, search engine optimization, Facebook ads, whatever the case may be. I'm literally just in the trenches recording that stuff for you guys. So if that's something that you think you would benefit from, definitely, subscribe, hit the bell icon, that we won't miss any of our live streams, as well as any videos, shorts, all of that good stuff. We'd love to have you. And then, of course, speaking of that, if you want to ask me a question directly, you can always shoot a comment down below, or if you want to have more of a personal conversation back and forth, you can reach out to me on our Discord group chat or our Facebook group. Both are totally free. I don't have any paid groups or masterminds or any stuff like that. Links for those should be in the description as well. But with that, we will go ahead and just get right into, like I said, I believe it's part 7 now of things I wish I knew when I started my pest control company. And this just resurfaced, which I figured, wow, this is something that I already know now, and it's come to actually help me just literally within the last 24, 48 hours. And I was like, God, if I had not known this when we started doing bigger jobs like exclusion work, termite work, whatever the case may be, bigger jobs, bed bug, etc., it could have really, caused us some issues. Now at the worst, someone can leave us a bad review. We don't have any, but that's the worst that can happen now. And that is the importance of giving as much documentation of expectation of services. Of course, that it's a good idea, of course, to have service agreements for general pest control, and in most, if not all states, they require termite agreements, termite contracts for termite side. But when it comes to other type of miscellaneous work, say rodent exclusion work, where you're sealing up a home, for example, which is where we literally only have any type of issue with some people. And when I say some people, I'm sure you guys if you've been in business long enough or been in the industry, you probably know what type of customer I'm talking about in terms of just kind of, the trying to nickel and dime you, get you to do stuff that you all didn't agree to, et cetera, et cetera. Just never ending, list of complaints or, demands, quote unquote. Quick story, because we literally just had this happen this past weekend. I had been going back and forth with a potential customer for about 2 or 3 months, just staying in touch. He had a rodent issue. He's had a rodent issue for a long time. He had a roofing company that redid his roof. They did a horrible job, of course, of, quote unquote, sealing up the home, because they're roofers. They're not experts in the industry, right? Calls us out. I send them the quote. Don't hear back for a while. Then his wife actually reaches out to me directly. And it's like, hey, my husband's been trying to do this and that and the other. We just need to get it taken care of. Send me the quote, and, assuming it looks good. If I have any questions, I'll let you know, but assuming it looks good, we'll go ahead and do it. And I was like, great. So she says, she asks a couple questions, of course, and then after that, she's like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So we get it scheduled. My technician gets out there this past Saturday morning, and what happened? I think I got a text message from the husband asking about, this and that and the other. So I just call him. I'm like, my tech is there right now. I know he's there, so I'm just going to call and see what's going on. He starts asking, is he going to be able to take pictures? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? And I was like, sir, what he's going to do is everything that was listed on the quote. I'm actually going to be coming by shortly because there's actually going to be even more material required than we originally even priced on our end. I had to swing by with a couple extra bottles of caulking, essentially. And I ended up using about $130 worth of caulking as well. Which an average job you only use maybe about 60 or 70. So I mean, it was a bigger job for sure. And the customer immediately brings up the husband, that is, brings up just out of the blue, well, you guys are charging a premium price. Well, and I just cut him off, not rudely, but I'm like, well, yeah, because we were talking about something else, and he just randomly brought up price. I was like, I cut him off right there. I was like, well, you called the best company. Did you not expect to pay the best price at the end of the day? I was like, by the way, we could have charged a heck of a lot more, but, we were, helping you out because we know that you already paid a roofing company to come do this stuff once. We're removing some of their stuff for free. That's normally an extra $300 upcharge for time and labor and whatnot. So I was like, but back to your original point, I just completely veered the conversation back to what we were talking about, and everything seemed fine from there. So then I came by, and I was like, definitely need to make sure to get this dude's signature and the payment method, just to make sure there's no funny nonsense with payment, which, how things have transpired. Now, I guarantee you he would have tried to not pay us. So I get out there. I re-explain, pretty much everything again to him. I'm there a whole hour on a Saturday, defeating the purpose to a certain degree of having a technician. But, it's my fault that we didn't have enough material at the end of the day. And it worked out for the best because, like I said, I went out there, got the payment method right then and there. I reiterated to him because he was, being all funny about it. He was trying not to even give it to me, but I was like, I'm not leaving without your payment information. I was like, because, we've had it too many times. I told him straight up, we've had it too many times where, I call to get the payment or I send the invoice, whatever, because he even asked about that. Do you have a way that you can send the invoice and we can just pay it? And I just, told them, no, we don't have that for these type of jobs. We get the payment on file. We're not going to charge the payment until my technician notifies me that the work is done. Say he, for some crazy reason, gets sick, it's 100 degrees, gets, heat, heaven forbid, but heat stroke or heat exhaustion, something like that, where he can't finish. You're not going to be charged anything until he comes back and completes the job. So he seemed all good, got him to sign, the invoice with all the details of everything, which that is the main point of this, lesson is when you're making your invoices, whenever you're making your estimates, make sure that you are literally being as crystal clear as possible about everything that'll get done. When we first started doing exclusion jobs about almost 2 years ago now, 2 years ago now we've been doing exclusion work. It was mostly just like a gentleman's handshake, essentially. Whenever we go do exclusion work, we'd give them a rundown. We'd still send an estimate with, a pretty itemized, estimate, quote unquote, kind of going over everything we did. But now, after just, dealing with definitely well over 100 to 200 different types of seal-up jobs, we've dealt with every type of customer when it comes to that, and now our estimates and the invoice and all that in terms of the terms, if you don't know how Gorilla Desk, I'll probably show you guys at some point if I haven't already, how a Gorilla Desk estimate and invoice look. They look virtually the same, just one, shows the amount that is actually due or if it's been paid, all that. But down towards the bottom it says terms, and that's where, you're essentially setting the terms of the work. And now that thing is multiple paragraphs long. I mean, it's a lot. It goes over things that are not covered, things that are covered, and back to, the story of this customer here, he just messaged me literally yesterday, actually, and literally just started taking pictures of just random spots on his home. They're called the freezer board. If you don't know what a freezer board is, it's a little board that tends to run around, right underneath the soffit, essentially. Say this is your soffit, you're going to have this little thin board, almost like a 2x2 looking board, that runs around the home, specifically usually on like brick veneer type of homes that are made out of brick from the outside. And we literally discussed that, hey, we don't want to overseal the home. He agreed with that because he was like, yeah, I was reading online even that you don't want to, do like a total seal of the freezer board because it could cause, breathing issues of the home, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, great, yeah, no, we're on the same page with that. He starts sending me random pictures, why wasn't this part sealed? I was like, because a rodent can't get in there. Like we said, like your, estimate said, like your invoice said, like my technician you have 4 or 5 different things telling you in writing and in person that where applicable, the freezer board is being sealed. And by the way, you have a 1-year warranty, man. So like if for some reason, say 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road, say wintertime, for example, you start hearing something again, all you have to do is give us a call. We'll come take care of it. That's why we offer the warranty in there. But yeah, we were doing so much free stuff for this guy that I finally just had to tell him at the end of the day, kind of cut him off to, make the story as short as possible. Just had to tell him, you know what, I've been doing a lot of this free stuff for you. I'm not inclined to do any more stuff for you. I was going to do a free follow-up for you, which is normally 95 plus tax. I was like, you know what, you can self-monitor the traps. The traps weren't even necessary. Again, it's something I threw in for you for free. Another thing that probably would have been $150 plus tax. So, you were going to save $250 plus tax. You've already saved $150 on that. Not to mention all the other savings. You've probably saved well over $500 to $700 plus on this job. I was like, how you're being towards us and just trying to nickel and dime us, I'm not inclined to do any more for you in terms of free stuff. So I was like, if you want anything else done, it's going to, require additional costs. And he finally got the point, I guess. I haven't heard back from him. It's been 12 to 18 hours now. But point being, I wanted to give you guys just a real life, literally just transpired this past week type of story. One, to, reiterate the importance of being as thorough as you can in your wording of the terms, or if you're trying to write your own contract, which I don't really suggest doing. If you're going to try to, come up with your own contract, just hire an attorney, or business attorney expert, somebody that, knows the pest control industry specifically to do that. Gorilla does have some pretty good ones in place. And then also in terms of the actual terms section of the, document, like what we were talking about for the receipts, the invoices, estimates, all that. What we will do is now we have pretty much the same one for every single one. It's just a matter of editing the numbers, how many vents, how many roof returns, this and that and the other. Which that's another thing. He got some extra PVC vents covered that wasn't priced in, another $200. So he probably saved close to $1,000, but whatever. He just got me a little annoyed if y'all can't tell. But yeah, in there, what you want to do, at least this is what I did, if you're using Gorilla Desk, where you can put your own special terms in the invoice, again, just covering your butt more than anything, because, we could get into a whole nother subject of disputes. Long story short, say this guy tries to go dispute the charge now, which I doubt he will, but say he does, we have as much documentation needed to show that, hey, this is what we did. This is, even screenshots of text messages. The bank is going to want as much information as possible, and they usually take 90 days, by the way, which is complete BS. How somebody can just fraudulently. We had this happen with a spot treatment on a termite job. They said that the work wasn't done, and it was complete BS. So we got charged a fee from Stripe that's non-refundable. And then it took 90 days, actually about 92 days, for the bank to finally respond and give us our money back. It's just ridiculous, what people can get away with just total fraud at the end of the day. But back to what I was talking about with the terms within that, what we did is, we kind of created our own little default terms, and then I took it and put it in ChatGPT. And, I told ChatGPT before, giving it all that information that, hey, I need you to think like a legal expert for this conversation we're about to have, getting it, programmed, quote unquote, to be thinking like a legal expert, getting all of its information that the AI gets from the internet, from like legal experts and stuff. And then I was like, can you clean these terms up in terms of what to expect from a rodent control company on, what to expect from the rodent exclusion service. And then I just pasted all the text in there. It cleaned it up, made it grammatically correct, made it look like almost like a contract, in all honesty. Like I said, it's multiple paragraphs and all that good stuff, and it's very concise. I'll probably, assuming we're able to do a live stream, I'm going to try to do the live stream, by the way, for those of you that are still watching, probably Friday, because I do have family coming in this weekend, my mother, my grandparents, all that, to see our newborn, and my birthday Saturday on top of that. So probably will not have time to do a live stream on Saturday, so we'll probably try to push it for Friday evening is what's going to be the plan. So we'll see how many of y'all are really dedicated, because I know what happens on Friday evening. I don't participate in that BS, and if you're just getting started, sure as hell should. Put the booze down, put the weed down, put the wacky tobacco, put all that BS down, and come join us on Friday evening for that live stream. But what I was mentioning with that is I'll show you guys kind of what that looks like, and then if you want to see, like on ChatGPT, how you would, talk to ChatGPT to get it to do what you want in terms of really anything, but specifically, creating those terms and cleaning it up for you. We'll dive into that as well. But like I said, it's super important. It covers your ass and will literally just take so much stress off of you. Like, yeah, you're still going to be kind of stressed that, man, I hope he doesn't, leave us a bad review, or I hope he doesn't, try to dispute the charge, whatever the case may be. Like, of course, it's just part of owning a business at the end of the day. There's stuff that's going to be kind of stressing you out to a little bit day to day, and you just got to learn to kind of brush it off. You got to know that about 1 in 50 to 1 in 100 people are just going to be royal pieces of shit at the end of the day, to put it as nicely as possible. And you just got to take it, as is, be as professional, be as nice as possible. I was not remotely, offensive towards him or anything like that. I was very, very respectful, to the point that I could obviously tell he thought that he was going to be able to kind of push his weight around and, get more out of us. And that's when I ultimately had to kind of, I had to get as real with him as I ever had with any customer. I don't know if it's because I'm only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night right now, and I just have little tolerance for any BS right now. But I tried. But like I said, whole point. Can't believe this video is already almost 20 minutes. But the whole point is cover your ass. If you're gonna be doing these bigger jobs, anything over, my opinion, 250. Big job is relative, of course. To me, anything that's gonna be in terms of if you're trying to sell like a financial bar, probably the minimum would probably be like 250. Once you start dabbing in like some rodent work and stuff like that. Rodent work specifically, because it can be very difficult to get the customer to really understand, regardless of how many times you explain it to them. Without having it right there on paper, they just won't understand it. And even then, like I said, like I just showed you guys, even then, sometimes if they're a POS, at the end of the day, they're going to try to get more out of your pest control company. They act like you just shouldn't make any money on the job at the end of the day. So hopefully, that definitely gave you guys a little bit of insight. Like I said, this is something that I definitely wish I knew when I first started. It would have saved me just one, a lot of work because there were multiple exclusion jobs that we did where, looking back at it, whenever a customer would complain about something, I'd just sit there and be like, damn, I didn't put that in there. So I guess, if I want to be nice, I need to go ahead and cover it. And it costs me time, materials, money, again, just expensive lessons of running and doing everything for the first time. You're not going to be perfect, but again, that's the whole point of this channel. I want to show you guys and explain to you as thoroughly as I can and beat it into your heads. Like, if you can avoid these mistakes, you're going to be so much further along ahead within your first year than I was. That's the ultimate goal for you guys. Like I always reiterate in this series, if I knew these things that I'm explaining to you all, we would be 3 to 10x ahead of where we are right now. Not just in terms of, the learning aspect, but probably, at least 1.5 to 3x on the financial aspect as well, just because, we'd be more profitable. Like I said, when you have to go back and do something for free because you want to be, Mr. Nice Guy, because it technically wasn't in your agreement that this was or wasn't covered, it's a gray area. You're going to try to save that customer in terms of you don't want them to become a detractor of your company. You want them to be, someone that's going to be like, hey, this company, they were really good. We had a little issue and it technically was a gray area. And I always, whenever that happened, I would explain to people, yeah, this is my fault. Technically, this was not like supposed to be covered. It was my fault completely. I didn't put that in the paperwork. I didn't explain that to you. I'm just going ahead and doing it for free. It's all on my dime, essentially. And, people, instead of them being detractors, they're going to end up being like, hey, anytime, for example, they're on social media and they see somebody saying, who would you guys suggest for getting rid of rats or whatever the case may be, just going with this, example. That customer, I've seen it on Nextdoor, Facebook groups, etc. Your customers almost become little salesmen for you. They'll go in there and they'll be like, I used Griffin, for example. I prefer pest management. He was great, blah, 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 blah. They'll like write a testimonial for you right there. So if you can turn a potential detractor into a, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a total brain fart, but you all know what I'm saying. Like, instead of a detractor, they're like a promoter in terms of like NPS, talk. If you can turn that situation from a detractor potential into a promoter, that's great, but we would prefer to not have to do that on our dime, of course. We'd rather set complete expectations up front. That way everybody's happy and everybody wins, of course. So, if you have any questions about this subject specifically, like I said, feel free to shout it out in the comments below. If you have any questions about, starting your pest control company, growing your pest control company, what's working for us, what's not working for us, like I said, feel free to shout it out in the comments. Or like I said, you can reach out to me personally on our Discord or Facebook group. Sometimes it takes me a few days or so to see it because I have like social media limits set on my phone to keep me focused and, family time and this and that. So if I don't respond for a few days, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I don't get the notification because the app is silenced. So the only time I'm going to see it is if I open the app. So, but I am in there usually at the minimum every few days or so. And then, of course, if you like the video, definitely smash that thumbs up button. It helps the video out. It helps other, aspiring pest control owners to see the channel, see the content, all that good stuff. And then, yeah, like I said, join us in our live stream this Friday, 2 days. Yeah, it's already Wednesday. Wow. 2 days from now, we'll do a live stream. I'll look to try to get it scheduled. That way it shows up on our channel for exact timing and all that for you. Subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss that or any other future content. And until next time, guys, just keep on going out there, covering your ass, achieving financial freedom, and achieving the life with that you and your family deserve. And I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Take it easy, guys.